Hey, good morning, everybody. Chill day. It is a chillin' nasty day. I say it, did anybody get the number that there bus? Hello, Leigh-Ann Mole. Hello, Bakh'abantu. Hi, what's happening?
Oh, just trying to survive, you know?
Yeah.
I see you got your scarf on. You ready?
That's it.
Yeah. Your hair looks different. Did you get your hair done?
I washed it myself. So if we just want to get the hip update, and it's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with being trendy.
Go on.
I had my first shower after 20 days.
Oh, you must have been so happy.
A long walk to freedom.
Yeah.
I got into that shower and I was making these like guttural man noises.
You're like, oh, this is so good.
I was like, oh, these visceral, physical man sounds that the neighbors could hear. It was just, I felt like I was in a shampoo advert under a waterfall in nature.
You could hear the classical music playing in the background and stuff, right?
Oh, it was a beautiful thing. Made me realize, you know, you got to appreciate the small things.
It is amazing, though, when you're used to something and you just take it for granted, and then it isn't there for the reasons, in your case, that, you know, kind of to do with not being able to just move around or just put yourself under the running water. You don't think about it. But then suddenly when it's gone, it's all you think about. Unbelievable.
It's like Maslow's hierarchy, really.
Right. Yeah. How far are we up the hierarchy?
Sure. Well, besides just surviving the cold, I was starting to do things like sneaking around with no crutches on.
Ooh.
Look at you living dangerously.
Like using my
with your legs?
You know what? Yeah, using the one leg more than the other. But you know, it's strange is that people ask me, can you feel that you've got like a strange object in your leg?
Yes, right.
Like embedded in your bone. And that's also what I questioned before. And the answer is no, you can't, but you can feel there's something missing.
Ooh.
It's quite interesting. So when you need to lift your leg to go up a stair or to, you know, like do a hip raise, like a hip flexor thing, you need to take another moment and you have to use almost a different part of your brain to do it.
Oh,
really?
So it's relearning.
Yeah, it's like relearning. It's so weird.
Well, to be crass here, Gareth, just for a second, we talked about showers. So there's two types of people in the world, Leigh-Ann. There's people who pee in the shower and liars. Oh. Which one are you?
Also, people who brush their teeth in the shower too.
Oh, but that's disgusting.
No, why is it disgusting? Think about it.
But like come on, teeth.
Why?
Ew. Like, where do you spit?
So you pee in the shower, but you don't brush your teeth in the shower.
No, I'm a liar.
Exactly. Right. No, I reckon the shower is a great place to do all of those things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's I shave in the shower as well.
But for guys, it's like so much easier. Have you seen like cosmetic products for guys? I have a shower gel that says hair.
It's like an 8-in-1.
Exactly.
You basically use that for like your mouth, your nose, your asshole, everything.
Inside your shoes.
Then women have like a different product for like this part of the armpit. That's different from this part of the armpit. Can't be me.
My ex-girlfriend used to laugh because she'd get into the shower and she'd be like, what are all these things? So what I have in there is like, I've got a shower gel. I've got a face wash, which I remember sometimes to use. I'm not gonna kid you. Like most days I don't. I just use water and that's enough for me. I'll have shampoo. I have shampoo, obviously.
Nice.
And that's different to the shower gel because sometimes, you know, you remember, oh, hang on, I've got to like
take care of this hair thing.
I hate having like dirty hair. It's one of the things that I probably wash my hair too much. That people say you shouldn't wash it too much.
No,
you can wash it. Yeah, you can wash it like a lot, right? Okay, I'm not a hair expert here. Like you can wash it a lot, but you have to put back the nutrients that you're washing back in. So that's why you need a conditioner and then like hair.
Don't feel bad about talking about this. This is what people come for. People come to hear this stuff. The grooming habit. 3 people on this Monday morning show.
What? One guy with like a cap currently on because the hair is having a ridiculous hair day. The guy who's had the same hairstyle for like 20 years. And Leigh-Ann who hasn't showered from 28 days.
So I also have one toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste in the shower and one at the basin. So if I'm not showering, I'll use the basin one, and otherwise I'll brush my teeth in the shower.
Here's my logic. What are you doing while you're brushing your teeth? Because I take 2 minutes to brush my teeth. I've got a timed toothbrush. That's like 2 minutes of not being able to do something with my other hand. Don't get your mind off the
Yeah.
While I'm doing that, so I'm wasting water.
What do you mean?
And
what do you mean you have to? No, you're enjoying yourself under the water. You're like, and especially in winter. Let me tell you something. A hot shower.
There's not enough environment left to enjoy.
Come on. The hot water in the morning when you are cold like today is such a blessing.
But like, wait, isn't it like drowning though? Because like your mouth is busy up, and then there's water.
What's wrong with you people?
What are you, a water bath?
Are you like a slow adult? Or what's wrong with you?
Well, Leigh-Ann can't use both her. She uses both her hands to brush her teeth.
What, you can't do 2 things at once? Jesus, you can't breathe while you're brushing your teeth. You've got big problems, man.
I use the one to block my nose.
I keep telling people how intelligent Bakh'abantu is. I'm gonna have to take that back. Guy can't even brush his teeth without drowning under the shower. It's too difficult. It's too difficult to do 2 things at once. Moron.
You see that word now? That word is apropos because words mean something.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, look up the term.
Yeah, exactly. Look up the term, right? Because it's not idiots.
We've been over this, and you're not allowed to. This is very politically incorrect. Imbecile, moron, and
it's an
idiot.
IQ scale, right?
Yeah. Idiot's the worst one, by the way.
Yeah.
If you call someone an idiot,
because like moron is like you have like moron intelligence of a child or something like that.
Like a moron is at the upper end of the low IQ scale. So. In order, it goes idiot. Idiots are like, these people are barely capable of like seeing to the day-to-day. That's like the brushing the teeth guy. He'd be an idiot, not even a moron. Then you get an imbecile. And an imbecile's just, I think that goes up to about 60 IQ, which means, and remember, I mean, like the average IQ is not 100.
It's not 100.
So we're
then
talking.
After that, like, you can still go into like the coma scale.
Oh yeah,
so there's still more to come.
Yeah. It's like an idiot can like move around and make basic communications, but it's really, I think it's difficult for them, right? They struggle. It's hard to be them. And then,
so what is the average IQ?
Can someone monitor us?
So actually, let's look this up
now. Let's look it up. Like live on air. What do you think the average IQ is, Leigh-Ann? Do we have more morons than we do imbeciles?
Oh my God. Okay, here it is. Oh my God. Guys, I just looked up the average IQ in South Africa. It's 57 studies they've done for South Africa.
That's a lot of studies.
It's 57 published studies, okay? Gathered over an 80-year period. They found the IQ range goes between 59 and 89 with a median of 67. That's even lower than I thought it was.
So now,
oh my God!
So by the way, 67. The
average IQ in Japan is 106.4.
Okay, forgive my IQ, but what is the average? What is a good IQ or an average IQ?
Well, it's meant to be 100. 100 is meant to be the average intelligence quotient because it's a quotient. You know what a mean is in terms of mathematics. So
median.
And by the way, I know that there are going to be people who climb onto this and say, "Oh, well, IQ is not the best way to test for this stuff."
You need EQ, right?
No, you don't. IQ is still the most reliable way of figuring out whether someone can perform a task with simple instructions.
No, that's how I always look at it. It's not intelligence, it's your potential. Can you teach this person to do?
Can they learn basic stuff?
Yeah.
Right now, you know the U.S. Army will not hire anyone with an IQ below 80. They will positively not. They will discriminate against those people.
But when done at that point, in any case.
No, No. The point is, they've done the research, and they will not hire someone. They will not put you in the military. And by the way, they always want a warm body, right? Yeah. I mean, they'll take anybody. They go to the Midwest, and there's some farmer's son who's been like beaten up by the combine harvester during like the last major harvest. And
they throw him in, especially during like the Vietnam recruitment when they had the lotto.
They'll take anybody, right? They will not take someone with an IQ below 80 because those people will do more harm than good in any given situation. They will fuck shit up so badly that it actually causes other people who have high IQs to die. They are that destructive. So if we have an average, oh my God, if we've got an average IQ in Southern Africa of 67, I'm very, very worried. As Richard says, the average South African needs to walk around with a dog cone on. Oh my God.
Oh dear. Oh,
anyway,
what can we do? And by the way, Japan's going to become population 0 in the near future.
Yeah, so they're really smart, but they can't keep their population going. There's going to be no Japanese people left. That's really smart.
They can't do two things at once. They can't be smart and procreate.
Extinction's on the way.
Schools
take your high IQ. Take your high IQ and shove it. You guys, the world will continue, but we'll be really stupid. That's what's
meanwhile in South Africa we're fucking like rabbits.
Yeah. Oh no, we're okay. Hey, we're actually, our population has started to decelerate, which is quite something. There are obviously other countries like Nigeria is on a huge like upward tick, but South Africa.
But like we all know the Chinese do it better than everyone else, even with that one child policy.
Well, that's turned around.
Yeah, that's turned around.
No, it's not looking so good for them anymore. Anyway, I mean, this is a hell of a way to start the morning, and it's all because you can't shower and brush your teeth at the same time. So at least we figured out why.
Well, Gareth, what I lack in intelligence, I make up in culture. So I went to a play, Leigh-Ann.
You went to a play.
I went to a play.
Listen to this. So actually, I interviewed the man who wrote this play, and who is one of South Africa's most well-known theatre people, Paul Slabolewski.
Yeah.
And he was in the studio with me the other day. I had such a nice conversation with him. Sometimes there are people who you kind of know about while you're growing up, and kind of when you're in the media business, you kind of know about these people who are real like legends in their field. And he's one of those. But I've never really, because I'm not a big theater goer, never really appreciated him properly. And when I was preparing for the interview with him, I did a bit of research and kind of read as much as I could about him. You must go and see what this guy's done.
Dude.
And this play is a well-known...
Dude.
You watched it? You loved it? Tell us about it.
I loved it. So, like, again...
What's it called?
Yeah, it's called Saturday Night at the Palace.
Mm-hmm.
So now this play is really good. It has like 3 characters. September and like 2 Afrikaner dudes. It's set in like 1984.
October and November.
Can't do that. Yeah, we're talking about plays here. Keep up. Like not 67. Your 67 is really showing right now.
It's because Leigh-Ann and I haven't been to a theater play for like 20 years.
Halfway through my I realized I've watched this play before, but during my uncultured youth.
Yeah.
At Wits, we were taken there for a week. It was at the Wits Theater at the time, and then we just sat there and I just slept. I think we were from Beer Garden or something like that, and just slept through this entire thing. But it was beautiful. It was 2 hours. It was not theater, guys. Highly recommended. Stop watching movies.
Now, I mean, I'm very impressed you did that. So you got up, you went off to a theater, and you sat there in the audience, and you applauded when it was appropriate to applaud, and you actually made an effort to do this. Most people are like Netflixing on their laptops while
like
they
their gowns and
that's the thing. The whole thing around all of this is effort from both parties. The amount of effort it takes to put on a play, and the amount of effort it takes to go and receive a play.
Yes. It's a hell of a thing.
It's living.
Bakh'abantu is making us look terrible.
Time until we die.
So he looked terrible with the low IQ because he can't brush his teeth and shower at the same time. But now he's making us look terribly uncultured because, honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I went to a play. I cannot remember. It's that long ago.
I'm sure the last one I went to was where Ben was doing tricks with his penis or something.
I think that's called a strip show, Leigh-Ann.
Leigh-Ann, that is not a play. That was That was that dude who could like tie his dick in knots, and that is not cultural. That's like Australian.
Non-cultural.
That's not a cultural experience. I don't know what you like. What are you high? Unbelievable.
I don't know, mate. What's in this? I don't know.
I agree with Bakh'abantu, says Sana. I went to the ballet. How's that? She went to the ballet. That's impressive. What is that mug? Was it made by an idiot?
It was made by my Jewish friend. It's my last Jewish friend to celebrate Christmas in July. And it has my
real Christmas,
a long sausage dog, and my name on it.
That is really bad. How old is this person?
Well, we were like 25 at the time.
But that looks like it was made by a 4-year-old.
Exactly. So now we need to ask the IQ, like 67.
No, come on. That's really bad. I mean, even the handwriting is like slightly.
Okay. Have you tried to draw in ink on a mug?
I actually
tried to draw in ink on a mug.
So I went with my sister and my folks to this clay place where you paint things. This is last year.
Oh, sometime. Like a wine and whatever.
No, and we took the
like a pottery class.
We took my brother's kids, and they painted their own little things, and I painted a jug. I made a fantastic. I'll show you my jug tomorrow when I'm at home. I'll show you the jug, and you will be very impressed. That is an absolute travesty of justice. What you just showed us, there. Your Christmas in July mug. So, I would use that one as like a
pooper scooper.
No, I'd use it like to water the plants outside. That's what I do.
Let's be honest. It's it's been a while since I can stand at the sink and wash all the dishes and pack dishwashers and things. So it is kind of a back of the cupboard mug.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice. The thought's all that counts, right? That's all.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Tabo.
Very good. Yeah, Tabo says, forget these uncultured people, Leigh-Ann. The cup is beautiful. It's the thought that counts.
See, well, the cup is functional.
Yeah, it doesn't leak.
Yeah, it doesn't leak.
Whether it's beautiful or not, that's a whole separate story.
You don't have to drink out the bottom.
Yeah. You don't have to drink from the leaky bottom. All right, so let's get into some stuff for this morning, because we've got quite a lot to talk about, and we've got some sport to get to a little bit later on as well. But Leigh-Ann, you have something to say about a hero Joburg businessman? You know, I mean, I remember when didn't you help your neighbors, like had a fire or something, and you warned them a while ago? You remember?
Yeah, the fire was almost in my garden, but yes.
Yeah, and like I don't know, their lapa or something burnt down, but you saved them. I mean, you're like a hero.
Well, the way
Leigh-Ann just told the story,
the way Leigh-Ann is telling the story, she's doing that South African thing where she's being humble. She's like, no, I was actually doing it for me.
I did that. My neighbors, there was someone working on the roof. I'm sure I told you the story. And I saw smoke. And then I ran over there and I said, I ran for my life, Jesus. I ran. I got bronchitis. Anyway, I said to the woman, I was knocking on the door, and she like answers the door calmly. I'm like, your roof's on fire.
The roof.
Yeah.
The
and
roof.
she goes, oh my God. And like she runs into the house and they put it out just in time. But there would have been a proper fire. And I felt like a real hero after that. So yes, Leigh-Ann, take the hero label.
Take the W, Leigh-Ann. As we were saying, the roof is on fire, right? But who started the fire, Gareth?
Oh, they did.
We all know who started the fire.
It was a fire in Craighall, the suburb of Craighall in Johannesburg, which is down the road for me. And I've sent you a video. I got sent this video on Friday night, and it's always eerie when you see shops and locations that there are like a blaze. You get like a builder's warehouse or a build it. This was a build it.
Yes.
And
oh,
I actually know this place.
Wow.
Is this like on Jan Smuts?
No.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, everybody knows that place in Jan Smuts. Holy shit, look at that. That's a massive fire. So who's the guy who's the hero? It wasn't you, Leigh-Ann. You didn't film this, did you?
No, I didn't film this. Credit goes to a guy I had on Twitter. I'll look up his name in a sec. But there was this local businessman I suppose that's what he's been chosen to be called by the newspapers. I'm sure he has other titles, but they're calling him a businessman who went and warned houses around the area and helped rescue people from there because their trees had started burning.
Oh, wow.
And if you look at the photograph of the two of them, the firefighter with the hero, it's he looks like he could be a firefighter himself. So amazing work by Kaushik Karan. And he went around, helped dogs and cats and pets and people and children from houses all around the area. He had just got home from watching the movie Oppenheimer and he heard this window breaking. And he initially thought, well, it might be an intruder. Then he heard
I'm just proud of him. I'm just very proud of him for not watching Barbie.
At least he made the right decisions.
He's already a hero. He was a hero when he didn't walk into Barbie.
And then he started hearing these explosions. He saw trees being set alight, a roof collapsing on itself. So he did the right thing, called emergency services. They were very quick to respond, by the way. I know there are a few of us who've been wondering how long, what the response time is for firefighters. But apparently it's spot on at the moment. And then he just started evacuating people, getting them as far away from the fire as he could.
That's fantastic.
This man is like Superman right now.
Good for him.
I know.
You see, we have good people in this world. Even though there are also a lot of assholes, there are some very good people by the looks of things. Aren't we lucky? Right? There are people like that in your neighborhood. That's good to know.
Imagine there's this knock at your door and he's there, you're looking all buff. I wouldn't complain.
No, you're already trying to have sex with him, and he's trying to rescue you. Leigh-Ann is like, why don't you come inside? And he's like, ma'am, I'm gonna try and get you out of your house. So you don't burn to death. Yeah.
It's like it's so like the fire is burning. It's like
young man, young man, you look so nice, young man. Don't you want to come inside? Oh. I've got nothing under this dressing gown.
Oh, I have a cat you could save. And by cat, I mean, no, can't say.
Leigh-Ann's trying to get him into bed, and he's trying to rescue her. What a disaster!
I just think I think it's funny how he looks like the one who's meant to be the firefighter. Nice.
Don't
I think he
body
did his
shame
good
now.
deed.
All heroes. Yeah, he didn't. No, he did more than his good deed. He did 67 years. Yeah.
Good. Well, we like giving credit where it's due. Yeah. I think that's excellent.
So local businessman.
Good. Yeah, local businessman who doesn't want to be known by his actual name. Like, no, because then all those chicks like Leigh-Ann are going to be all over his DMs.
Like, I have a fire here.
Young man, what's your Instagram handle?
There's a fire in my bedroom right now.
There's psychopath women all over Joburg lighting their house up, just hoping he'll pitch up.
Throwing their cats into trees.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just set the kitchen on fire. Won't be too much damage, and he should get here in time. Oh, young man.
We also know he's a quick responder, eh?
Oh my God, you too.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Hanan says our bar for a hero is so low. You have to at least carry out a child, lady, or old man out of a burning building. Maybe he did.
He did, though. He was saving pets. He was knocking on people's doors.
Right. Yeah, Hanan. You know what? What did you do?
What did you do this weekend, Reed?
What did you do?
Who did you save? Who did you save? Hanan is like, oh, the bar for hero is so low.
Maybe you should start a fire and save people. You know what I mean? And we'll start talking to you.
Andy says, here's a bar for low. I reported a fire at the house next door. No one was home. The fire department got lost trying to find the place. Turned out they'd left the embers going after their braai. Ooh, you got to watch that. And, you know, a lot of people making fires at the moment because it's so cold.
No.
And you end up, those fires just,
they run away with you.
You go to sleep and then, the fire keeps going.
I'm trying to remember where this country is that I saw this ad from. I think it might have been like an Icelandic kind of country, or a Denmark, or a Sweden, or something.
Scandinavian, yeah?
Scandinavian, thank you, that's the word. But their fire is FOC, F-O-C. And then or is it Spain? Anyway, And they've got a new campaign.
That's a huge difference. I'm just saying. That's very close.
Yeah, it's like you're
in the right hemisphere. Okay.
Okay.
But
all right.
They've got their new campaign to stop fires and arsonists and things like that is to turn the flame off. So talking about these embers, it's reminding people to stomp out your cigarette, to stomp out your braai, and it's like flame off, which is fuck off. And so the whole campaign,
hilarious.
During the whole thing, they go fuck off, and then they show someone throwing a cigarette and going fuck off.
Wow.
But we all know like these stories, like when the Amazon has been burning since I was a child, and then California, Australia is also burning.
Yeah, these wildfires.
Speaking about Australia, Gareth,
Great Barrier Reef won't catch fire. That's underwater.
Sorry, I mean, besides watching, besides going to a play and watching the play, guys, I also lost a lot of money this weekend.
Oh, with super bets, huh?
Yes.
No, who did you put money on?
So I went in with my heart. It was a terrible day to be me. I went in with my heart. I bet against the Bokke because I saw the lineup. So they played like shit. Everyone knows they played like shit. Yeah, but I thought they were going to lose. Then the Pumas, like, well, come on, guys.
Yeah, they still held it together. Yeah. So I also lost money, so don't feel bad. It wasn't just you.
Yeah, but at least I'm with the Australians. It was a bad day to be an Australian. You're like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a bad day to be an Australian.
Absolutely.
The rugby championships, New Zealand trounced them.
Okay, so let's talk about the sport. Let's get into some of this. Of course, this is brought to you by Superbets, and you can find out more by going along. If you register now, you will actually be able to get a 50 Rand bonus thrown in, which in the case of Bakh'abantu, who's lost all his money, you need that 50 Rand bonus.
It was 250, Gareth, gone.
It's beyond the scoreboard time with Superbets and with Bakh'abantu. What do you got for us? Okay, give us some results.
Okay, so results, rugby championships. You're a rugby fan recently, right?
No, well, newly converted. It's like
newly converted. Go Bokke.
It's like Leigh-Ann is. She's newly converted back to showering. So I've converted back into a book fan. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like no, it was a terrible day to be an Australian, right? Like the Bokke did win against the Pumas, so we did that. 21 Pumas, 22 the Bokke, right?
Right.
And then Australia lost 7-38 to New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah, granted, the All Blacks, we all know they're the ones.
Good.
They think they are. Netball championships. The netball is running away with it, guys.
Did anyone place bets on the netball?
People should have. I should have, but I was like, because my mom's a huge netball fan. I was like, yeah, she's been posting about this stuff. Like, oh, the netball team is going to win. Like, they're really going to run away with the World Cup.
So you even had an expert. You had someone who could.
And I was like, oh, come on, guys, I can't be watching netball. I can't be bothered, right?
Mm-hmm.
But South Africa is really doing well in these things. Like Friday, 61-50 against Wales. Saturday, 87-32 against Sri Lanka. But like,
I love these wide score margins. This is interesting. So there's a lot of what do you call it? Points being scored. What do they call it in netball? Nets.
You see, nets. So you see, I don't know what they call the
Leigh-Ann,
netball.
do you know? Remember when you were played netball at school?
No.
That's like the best review ever of netball.
Nah. All right, so we won. South Africa won.
We won too, but the game everyone was fast baiting for. Everyone was like on the edge of their seats was Jamaica. The Jamaicans are real athletes, guys.
So hang on, we played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And this all happened in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
So now Jamaica, we were all scared of them, and Jamaica did what they do.
They killed.
But granted, we held our own 49-67 to Jamaica.
Okay, well.
So it's not bad. It's not bad. Two out of three. That's not good.
Not bad.
Okay. Yeah. Again, bad day in Australia because the Ashes, they're still continuing. It's day 5. They need 249 runs.
Again, I saw a little bit of this. This shows you how I've become a part-time sports fan. So Stuart Broad has decided to end his cricket career, and there was a big farewell for him, and then they stopped because of rain in the middle of the day, but Australia's still chasing that target in the Ashes. And I mean, an interesting thing, because I mean, I didn't even know that Stuart Broad was as big a deal as he was in the UK. I mean, again,
but everything is a big deal in the UK. It's coming home. It's always coming home. Everything is always coming home.
But again, I mean, this guy's really got some incredible stats. Yeah. He's done extremely well as an England cricketer, and they just love him.
He's got some.
So there was a guard of honor as he walked out onto the field for the first time to go and bat, and I mean, it's really, really good stuff. So you see, I'm starting to become a sports fan again.
But it seems like you like everything else but the sports. It's like Wimbledon. You're talking everything else but what happened.
Well, I have to find the reasons to stay, and I'm not like most of the people on planet Earth. I'm an alien here. I'm an alien because I don't really care about the sport. But it was worth watching that, and I did see enough of it to keep my attention for a while. But I didn't win on cricket, so I didn't place any bets there. I did okay. I managed to even out on rugby because I bet on the Springboks, but otherwise no bets from me. Leigh-Ann, are you placing any bets yet?
Not placing bets, but I'm very impressed at the very long, succinct sports sentence that came out of your mouth. Right?
How's that, huh? I know.
Very impressed.
You've never seen me talk like this before. Right. Okay. Well,
Quite
if you want to know more. If you want to know more, go along and check it all out on Super Bets, and with Cliff Central, you'll be able to find out on our website.
No, guys, wait. Before you cut me off, this is where I lost my money, guys. UFC 291. Justin Gaethje beat Poirier, and it was in the second round. I was heartbroken. They were fighting for the BMF title. So BMF, mind my French, baddest motherfucker on the planet.
Right. Okay. Is that what they're going for?
Yeah, that's what they're going for.
That sounds like something worth having.
Right? Coolest looking title in the UFC.
Yes.
And then this guy just knocks him out with a kick. Gaethje goes down. Okay,
Wow.
And then Pereira lost against Blachowicz. The reason why this is important is because Adesanya and Pereira have a rivalry, and Blachowicz beat Adesanya. So now
I'm going to pretend I know what you're talking
now
about.
Pereira beat Blachowicz. So we're going to have a rubber match. We're going to do it again. So yeah, this is where I lost my money, at the UFC.
And a lot of people would have placed bets on Max Verstappen, and that would have been good money.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because again, Leigh-Ann, you used to
they
know
would have
more about
maxed out
Formula
on
1.
they would have maxed out on profits there.
There we go. So what, he started 6th or something and still ended up winning?
Dude.
Very nice. All right. Well, there's a look back at the sport like you haven't had for a long time on our show. So you see, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're improving every day. Things have improved.
Your class size improving. Remember, that was maths.
Yeah. Whenever someone would sneeze or cough. Superbets supports responsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008.
Yep.
So apparently, not a week goes by where Elon Musk isn't in the news. I don't know if this is always good for his companies, but in the case of Twitter, which has now been renamed X, you seem to know something about where this all started. So apparently he's been at this X thing for like 20 years. And I just thought it was a rebranding to bring everything in line with SpaceX. You actually know the story? Because people were asking, why bother?
I told the story in the hub, right?
Go on.
Yeah, so I'm in the hub. I'm telling the story to Dory. I'm like, this guy, what we don't realize, because Elon Musk is the biggest baby in the world, right? He's rich, he's successful, he's using Twitter like his playground, which is why he bought it. But this man has been trying to make X happen for a while, Leigh-Ann. So when he's in his college days, when they started PayPal, the original name for PayPal, guess what? X.com. And then the guy he co-founded, he's like, no, dude, that sounds like a porn site.
Yeah,
we can't call it that, right? So then,
so he went, well, what about triple X?
Let's add more X's, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so then he carries on. They get investors. PayPal shoots up, right? But still doesn't have a name at this point. Then the investors are like, no, we group tested this stuff. So PayPal is testing more. It sounds like a money app. It doesn't sound like a porn site like X. Then he's like, okay, let's call it X PayPal. Then they're like, no.
Why does he have a thing about X?
He named his child X.
Such a thing about names, though, in general.
He named his child X. And then, okay, now fast forward now, like they sold PayPal, they made a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fast forward, he has his child, calls him X, starts SpaceX, and then now finally buys Twitter, a business that is literally built on the brand of Twitter, because it's just a social media site, but people tweet. So what are you doing now? You're going to be Xing?
Yeah, exactly.
So
stupid.
Also, they just launched Twitter Blue. So what is he going to call it? X Black? Again, sounding more and more into that porn site, right?
So why is he doing this? What's his fascination with X?
I don't know.
Well,
but
I mean,
in 2018,
just remember as well that he's neurodivergent, right? He's on the autism spectrum, and there is a trait in the spectrum. And, with these things, you've always got to say, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, etc. I'm not, but these are from things that I know. You do tend to develop these obsessions with certain things, especially from a young age. And his is definitely on logos and names and branding and business and things like that.
But like just the letter X?
Well, I mean, his other child was like a number of letters.
Hanan rightly says, who argues with Elon Musk? I'd just be, okay, dude, whatever you want. I mean, like,
this baby.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to do this, Twitter's a brand. It's a valuable brand.
Yeah.
He's going to throw that away because he's got some childish infatuation, obsession with the letter X.
Granted, we're not psychiatrists. So Dr. Hanan's coming up. So, but anyway, so like Gareth, right? So guess how much he paid? We know he paid like a lot of money for Twitter, right?
Yeah, about
for the brand.
43 billion or something.
Yeah, so let's agree that he bought the brand, right? He didn't buy the media because he was not making a profit.
No.
So he bought the brand Twitter. So now he's replacing it. You know how much he paid for X.com? Because it was still in PayPal's library. So in 2018, he paid 20 mil for the domain name X.com.
What the hell for? X. Why does he care about it so much? Why?
X
what is
marks
this?
the spot.
Maybe that, I mean, so if you go to X.com, it takes you straight to Twitter.
Yeah. But it still hasn't upgraded. I don't know if it hasn't reached my phone. I don't know if iPhone users are using X now. But like, I know if you go to the website, like Twitter web, it's X.
Yeah. And when you open up Twitter on your phone, for example, now it goes X.
X, yeah.
Very weird.
Like imagine all this branding. Twitter Blue, we launched 6 months ago. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah.
It's like like literally like watching a child with Monopoly money playing. We used to play teacher or auditor.
He has real money. He's not playing with Monopoly money. He's playing with actual cash. He's paying 20 million for a domain, which is it doesn't even take you anywhere other than twitter.com. Dumb. I mean, listen, even the smartest people do some pretty dumb things, right?
Yeah.
It's like when it's so clever that it's stupid.
Well, that's what's happening. That's what's happening here. I'm telling you. All right. So that's a little bit of useful or useless information for you. Yeah. Don't forget, we got Dr. Hanan joining us just now. We also are going to today check in with Charley Pietersen, who's written this book and interviewed a bunch of people too. It's South African Men Arise. It is possible, the power of lifting one another up. It's all about his incredible journey, and Charley is no stranger to this show. You would have known him from previous interviews that we've had and discussions that we've had, and he's put this book together to kind of help South African men get themselves sorted out. We know.
Yeah, like Elon Musk is not doing a great job, so he needs this book.
we need this book, trust me. And he's got a whole bunch of people who have written chapters in it. I wrote a little bit for him as well. Teto Nyati, Solimwang, some really, really interesting people who are also well known to the audience at cliffcentral.com. And Charley's written this book, so we'll talk to him a little bit later on. So we've got Dr. Hanan, we've got Charley. We've also got some fun later on in the show, a little bit of a chance for you to be part of something really cool, because we have an update on that Bar One Need Energy Lighting Up Libraries campaign. You remember, this is something that really, really good that's happening in the community. And DJ Spoo and Miss South Africa came in to tell us about it last time they were here. And we're going to talk about keeping these libraries open by providing energy during load shedding so people can study for their exams. It sounds like such an obvious thing, but thank goodness Nestle are doing something for this as
Private, doing, stepping in for public.
Absolutely. So we'll find out all about that and do a little retrospective on the campaign. So apparently, as if that isn't enough for you, Bakh'abantu also has something to tell you about. This is actually Leigh-Ann's story, because it's about Bolt. You use Bolt. I don't know. I still don't know the difference. There's apparently another one.
There's so many.
I use Uber, and I've never had a problem. Although I've heard stories from some people, especially like women who are nervous to get in an Uber on their own. If I were a woman, maybe I'd think twice about it. Just any of these things, because it's a guy in a car on his own. Yeah. As a woman, you always got to look out for these things. As men, we don't even think about it. We just get in.
You just get in, right? Yeah. To get in like half sloshed there. Imagine like you're coming home from.
But you use Bolt, right? Bolt.
It used to be Taxify, right?
I've been using Uber a lot recently because I can't drive, right? So this is why I'm kind of aware of this stuff at the moment. And it gets frustrating when you've had your own car in the past to now have somebody else driving you around to your like local haunts where the shortcuts and all the rest of it. But Just for instance, okay. So I was driving around with my brother the other day, and we saw this bright yellow little car, and you'll see that it's kind of trending on TikTok at the moment.
I saw this yellow car.
Yeah, and as it drove past, it's so tiny. Do you remember the phrase half loaf for those little like mini
But hang on.
taxis?
It looks like a more serious tuk-tuk.
Okay, but Lebang uses a tuk-tuk. She came to work last week.
This isn't a tuk-tuk though. It's a car.
Let me just show this video. It's 10 seconds, and I'll explain what happens here. But take a listen.
It's giving Zimbabwe.
So why is it?
It's giving Zimbabwe. It's giving Zimbabwe. You see, market on the side of the road. You see, my business.
Now this thing is tiny.
It's a tiny little car. It's like a little Comet.
Yeah, it's half as wide. It's half as wide as a normal car. You get like
Why
one
they
and a
have
half
two seats next to each other, I don't know. They should just have like one seat. But anyway, my Uber guy made me realize yesterday that that's actually Bolt Light. The Bolt is now because you know you get Uber Go, the normal Uber, and then Uber Black. Now Bolt is the same sort of thing. Light is these little yellow cars.
You get 12
look at that
runs?
price. 12 rand. Okay, look, it was a short trip.
Where were you going? Oh, okay, cool.
You get to get in a car and get taken to the shops for 12 rand.
Car, air quotes, Gareth.
Yeah, it's not really a car. It's like a shopping trolley, but yeah.
It's smaller than a sport car.
That's a quick 6-minute trip that I looked up. And
It's
for
phenomenal.
instance, on Uber, that cost me about 25 rand. So
Jeez,
double the
12
price.
rand. That's good value. Huh?
Yeah. So I haven't actually driven in it myself yet because I only figured this out with my Uber driver yesterday. Although it was so windy, I'm surprised my Uber driver even charged me because I think that the wind took us to the shop instead of the petrol.
Yeah, if it's as windy as that in that little yellow thing, I mean, that's just going to blow like a sailboat.
No. This is where George Meany steps into the conversation, but he's
Yeah,
not, he's not in
exactly.
the comments this morning because I remember having a huge problem with the quid. On the quid, you could literally if you're on the highway and like a double cab passes like overtakes a quid, the quid like just flies off the road.
Starts wobbling.
Exactly. So what is this doing?
I'll definitely give it a test, guys, within the next few days, and I'll let you know. I'll make a little video.
Is this allowed on the road? Like you've seen our potholes. It's the size of a pothole.
What is it? But what is it actually called? What kind of a car is it? Like who
Apparently
manufactures
it's from
Bolt?
I think
Bolt
it's
don't make it.
And I think it's like an Indian manufacturer, Indian or Chinese, as far as I remember. But yeah, so I'll let you know. I'll let you know what it's like. But having these cheaper options is amazing. Although my Uber driver says that the taxi guys are fuming at Bolt Light since it's been launched.
Oh, really? Well, because it's good value for money.
Yeah, it's direct competition now.
Jeez.
But have you seen the fight between the taxi industry and these Uber guys? I've been in a Uber with this guy. I was telling a story that, okay, well, he casually told the story. He's like, so we're going to Park Station. I'm still at varsity at this time. He's like, yeah, nah, dude, can you drop me off just a couple of blocks away from Park Station because I know they give you trouble. He's like, no, they don't give me trouble. They give the other people. I have a gun just underneath my car, underneath my seat. He pulls up the gun. He's like, I killed 4 today. I'm like, yeah, and then he literally parks in the middle of these meter taxi guys, opens the boot, helps me with my bags and stuff, gave him a 5-star rating and a 10 rand tip. But also, I'm an accessory to murder after the fact. And so are you all now.
Holy hell, that's
He's
incredible.
Like, he pulled out his gun. He's like, yeah, I killed 4 just today.
Okay. All right, it's time for, it's going to be, I don't know how to respond to that. It's time for Dr. Hanan, our renowned psychologist and head of the Anxiety and Trauma Clinic in Johannesburg. And this week, Bakh'abantu has a question for Dr. Hanan. First of all, how's it, Doc? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Dan? How are you doing?
Good. We're good. It's pretty damn cold out there today. I mean, we thought we would get through July and we'd survive, but it seems like July had a little sting in the tail, but there's no point complaining about that. Other people have real problems. Bakh'abantu's got real problems. He wants to talk to you about something. Go ahead.
Dr. Hanan. So where to begin, Dr. Hanan? So I once had a relationship. I'll speak to you and Gareth at the same time. I once had this relationship, Gareth. So relationship lasted. We met in varsity, varsity sweethearts.
Right.
Relationship deteriorates after 5 years. But now the main problem is
not deteriorates. It was time.
It was time, right?
Hmm.
But like not from my side. I didn't know. So I was told. So we went on a date and the date went well. And then the next day they're like, okay, cool, dude. Like, so yesterday confirmed everything. We're done.
This is after 5 years.
Yeah, this is after 5 years.
But that's a long time for a relationship.
She's like, the date was great though.
She got sick of you.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, no, I've been comfortable all this time, so I've not been happy, so I want to be happy. But now, okay, cool. So I don't want to be with someone who's not happy with me, who loves you but not in love with you. So it started very movie. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm letting you go.
All right.
But now the problem is.
Well, you didn't have a choice. She'd already broken up with you.
But now the problem is, Gareth, is that now the letting go hasn't happened. So at this point,
from her or from you?
Her side.
Oh boy.
Because now I made peace, but apparently I was supposed to fight for her. That's the advice I've been getting from friends.
Oh boy. All right. So this is a game.
Dr. Hanan.
So this is a game.
Yeah. So I was supposed to fight for her. So this is like what? I think this is now 3 years ago. So like it's been going on since. So I was supposed to fight for her. And
what does it mean? What does it mean you're supposed to fight for? I don't understand. So you had broken up. This is 3 years ago. You've been together for 5 years. And she broke up with you because she was done with the relationship. She wanted to find new people, new opportunities. She was no longer in love with you. And what's the problem? Why did you need to fight for her? Who said that?
She said that. And then that's what friends are saying, is that when I said, okay, I'm letting you go, that means that I wanted out.
What are you, an idiot?
Yeah, like she's like, no, that means I wanted. So when she said, I'm dumping you, I should have said, no, please stay.
Doc, this is not as rare as a lot of people think. There are these funny games that people play with each other because they don't communicate honestly. And I do have to say that the majority of the blame here has to go to the women because they want something, but they don't tell you what they want.
Yeah, it's this mind reading act that I have to do. So now, Dr. Hanan, we stayed friends-ish. So now the relationship fluctuates. So it gets to like peaks where we're kind of back to that comfortable zone. And then this is where I drew the line. When we were like really great friends, and she's like, yeah, we could go back. I'm like, no, we can't because nothing has changed. We've never had the conversation. We're comfortable again. So what do
you want to know? Do you want to know why this woman's insane? What do you want to ask Dr. Hanan?
Dr. Hanan, what should I have done? How do you split up with someone amicably without this stuff? Because for me, the conversation was had that I can't make you happy, so go out and be happy.
So I keep on referring back to whenever we deal with human dynamics and human relationships, I always keep on back on the show to the coin theory. And there are a couple of principles to the coin theory. I'll just mention 2 out of the 10 that are relevant for you, which is 1, history does not mean value, which means just because somebody was valuable to you then, it doesn't mean that they're valuable to you now. So I hear this a lot. Hey, Hanan, but she was my best friend since grade 3. Well, nobody cares because the value that she added then doesn't mean that there's value that she has for you today. Hanan, I've known this person for 5 years. So what should I be investing? Well, no, because maybe for 5 years she served a purpose. Right now, she no longer does. So 5 years ago, you needed to get to Cape Town. Now you want to get to Durban, and she no longer serves that goal. So history does not mean value. But the opposite is true, which is principle number 2, which is future potential value is value. So I'm prepared to invest into something that might not have value for me right now, but has value for me down the line. So as a general example, Jim, think about exercising. I don't see any results immediately, but I'm prepared to invest into it for 6 weeks because I know 6 weeks later I'm going to get a return on that investment. The question when she breaks up with you is for you to ask yourself, don't worry about her because she has her own journey. Ask yourself, does this have any future potential value for me? Do I want to pursue this relationship for me? Do I think she's the right partner building camp for me? And the reason why I said building camp, I use this analogy, is that a relationship, a companionship, especially a long-term relationship, is actually meeting somebody that complements you, complements your weaknesses in building camp. Could you build camp on your own? Of course you can build camp on your own. But is it easier with the right person? Definitely yes. Sure, I'd rather you build camp on your own than be with somebody that's not a compliment to you, but you'd rather build camp with somebody that is complementary to you. So ask yourself when she breaks up with you, is there any future potential value? And if the answer is no, because there are key elements in the relationship that are broken, that are missing, then it's not worth pursuing. But if the answer is yes, there is future potential value for me, then of course you should fight. Of course you should try to win her back. Of course you should negotiate and compromise and communicate to get on the same page and get the future potential value that you see in your life.
All right, but then do you mind me just stepping in here, because this drives me up the wall? It's like, why don't people say what they want? Yeah, say what they mean.
And mean what you say.
Like, why is she playing this game? She wants, I don't know, she watched too much soap opera, or I don't know what the hell the story is here, but you can't expect someone to divine from thin air what you want. And when you say something as clear as day by saying, I want to be happy, I want to move on, we're finished. To me, that seems like a fairly clear statement of intent. And if she means something else, why doesn't she say that?
Yes. So in your case, it's 100% right. I'm referring to if the girl actually wants to break up with you, she's not playing games, she wants to end this, should you end this? And the answer is, does it have any future potential value? In this case, I would question the character of this person, because why are they saying one thing but meaning something else? Why are they hiding their true intention behind their request? And by the way, in this case, before you actually fight back, I would ask you one question. Is this the kind of character that you're willing to settle for? And do you want to build camp with this kind of character that says one thing, but expects you to do something different?
She's going to say we must make a fire, and next thing you know, she's stolen the tent.
100%. 100%. 100%. Because she's setting you up for failure. She's asking you to do one thing, but she's expecting you to actually do something else. It's a lose-lose scenario.
Exactly. That's where I ended up when we had the conversation where I'm like, nothing has changed. You haven't changed. I haven't changed. We're back to being comfortable, as she said. So I'm not part of that. So like, no future value. So I moved on. I shut it down.
That's good. One thing for your own,
from her side,
one thing for your own personal self-growth that I would question you if you stand in front of me and ask for my opinion is, how come when you've been together for 5 years, your job moving forward is to pick that character trait up a long time before that? Because the fact that you only saw that 5 years later, I would question you to actually start being aware, because it couldn't have come up just then. So it's like,
it didn't, Dr. Hanan.
What's that?
It didn't. It didn't. I picked it up, but it was like what? I was blindly.
And the question is, how do you make sure that you don't repeat the same cycle down the line and question it immediately? Because the first time that she does it and you kind of deflect and don't really raise it, it gives her permission to do it again. And then you don't do it, and it strengthens that permission. So you got to address it on minute 0 when it comes up.
Yeah.
Leigh-Ann's listening to all of this going, oh, that firefighter. She's not even paying attention. I can see she's like, what if I just what if I make a small fire on the corner of Jan Smit?
Like future value in this fire. Maybe there's future value in this firefighter.
That young man. So very hot.
Just finding things to light, random things.
All right, yeah, Doc, it drives me. I can't tell you how irritated I get when people play these games, though. Even when I'm not involved, which is most of the time, I see people doing this, and I have to ask myself, like, why would someone say what they don't mean, and ask for the opposite of what they want? It's just so.
Sometimes they don't know how to verbalize it, even themselves. They haven't.
But you know what, guys? 4
years old.
Even if you don't know how to verbalize it, you can actually say as an adult, "Hey, I don't know how to verbalize this, but this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Will you help me put it into words or in a way that we both understand?" But to say what you want, but actually mean the opposite, is setting your partner up for failure and yourself for disappointment. I always tell my patients, and I live my life by this commandment, always start with the truth. You can't lose if you tell the truth. You can't lose if you say what you want.
But you can't handle the truth, Dr. Hanan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't look at protecting other people. Just tell the truth.
Yeah. As hard as it is, right? Because sometimes it's not what people want to hear. They want you to kid glove things to make it really, really soft and gentle. But actually, and this came up on the show just the other day. People, they say they want the truth, but actually they don't. No. Actually, they want to be coddled. They want to be flattered. They want to be told what they'd like to hear rather than what they need to hear.
Yeah, you don't know how many times in my practice when I see couples and the woman will say to the guy will say to the woman, I didn't want to tell you this because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Yeah. And the answer is always from the partner is, don't worry about my feelings. I'm a grown-up man. I'm a grown-up woman. I can handle my feelings. What I can't handle is dishonesty. What I can't handle is distrust. I want to know where you stand. If you're not happy, say it. If you are happy, say it. If you are dissatisfied in some way, say it. What I don't want is for me to become a detective and try to connect the dots in ways that lead me into monsterville. So say what you mean. Be honest. You can't lose. If your partner runs away because you're honest, then it was the wrong partner for building camp.
Yeah. Anyway, you leave a partner if they drive one of those little yellow Bolt cars. That's what you do. You run for the hills. All right. Thank you, Doc. Very good to have you on, as always. Yeah, awesome. We'll check in with you in a week. There's Dr. Hanan. Your free counseling session. Aren't you lucky? You may have lost money on super bets, but you scored on the roundabouts. You scored by getting a free counseling session from Dr. Hanan.
One of the best.
Mm-hmm. He's the best.
Yeah.
Apparently he has no time. Apparently he's booked up for like 2 years, Dr. Hanan.
But like, you know who's also like, the reason why I say Dr. Hanan is one of the best. Remember Dr. D.
Oh yeah, she's great too. We love her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. D was beautiful.
It's 7 o'clock, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got, among other things, Charley Pietersen popping by. We're also going to find out about that lovely initiative by Bar One to help light up libraries and help kids be able to study for their exams, which is obviously something we all want.
Quick one on that note. Remember that SECA that was robbed?
Yes.
Someone also stood up from the private company group and bought them a generator so that they could continue doing their business. So that's a little update on that.
Well, there we go. Some good. You see, today's a day to celebrate heroes. Look at this.
No.
Leigh-Ann's going around basically handing out awards, which is terrific.
What did that mean? Say the bar is low.
Well, I don't know.
Come back.
I mean, we just stop it. You know what? We must take every hero, no matter what size, shape, or variety. We've got to take all the heroes we can
Zimbabwe.
get. Yeah, right, exactly. Let's get some heroes. All right, we'll be back in just a moment or two. Don't go anywhere. CliffCentral.com.
Up next in the AutoTrader podcast.
Naturally, extreme weather means more claims. So they've seen about 25% additional claims in the last few crazy months of extreme weather. So there is a direct impact. So just watch out and make sure that you are covered for those sort of things, because not all insurers or your policy might not cover. So I've done some research to find out what insurers are saying about the extreme weather.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Hi, I'm Barrett Edelstein. Join me for my podcast, Celeb Savant. Today I'm with Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
So right at the moment, I'm at home in London, but after I speak to you, I'm going to pack my bags.
3 of the members of UB40, Earl, Matt, and Jimmy.
Well, we're in the middle of a tour at the moment.
A career retrospective with actors, singers, and entertainment industry experts every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on cliffcentral.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Every time you listen to that 80s show, Tom Cruise lives another 10 years. Every Friday on CliffCentral.com, Paolo and Dory review movies, reminisce about old songs, remember childhood places that are now car parks, and say some outrageously rude things about Patrick Swayze's brother. That 80s show, new episode every Friday, live or as a podcast on CliffCentral.com.
Moaning on this Monday. It's the last day of July. August tomorrow. And you know what they say? They say when August hits, you're pretty much at the end of the year. So there's some scary
your birthday
thoughts.
month.
Oh, please don't bring that up.
So what are we
Bring
doing?
that up for?
What are we doing?
We're doing nothing. We're doing nothing. Nothing. We don't.
We have snow now, so we can do like a snow day. Leigh-Ann was having a Merry Christmas.
So August is easily the shittiest month of the whole year.
Yeah.
It's cold. You've got that arse end of winter, and then there's the wind, which started yesterday. I mean, like it started a day before it should have. But August is just awful. It's an unpleasant, nasty time of the year. It really is. I know they named it after the greatest man in history, Augustus.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about that.
But that was in
the Roman Greco calendar.
But that was in the northern
Northern
hemisphere.
hemisphere.
So, and it's much more pleasant. August is very pleasant in the northern hemisphere. I remember I was in Scotland one year in August, and Scotland is a very unpleasant place. All right, it's just a nasty, wet, drab,
like it's always
dull,
raining.
Horrible place,
Like
and full of very ginger people who all felt like this. It's very
Sean Connery hates it, and he's from Scotland.
Exactly. So August. Listen. It is what it is. That's when my birthday is. What am I going to do about it?
So to add on August's problem, Gareth was also born in August.
That's exactly right. I feel like it's a punishment. Ugh.
Augustus Julius. Julius Caesar.
Augustus Caesar. Yeah. Listen, I watched. Now, if you want to talk about Augustus Caesar, because I do. I have a bust, a marble bust in my house of Augustus Caesar. Yeah. Right. Because
I have a marvelous bust too.
You truly do. That's one thing no one is going to take away from you, Leigh-Ann. You may end up with new hips and all kinds of things, but bust,
them titties, them titties.
That's right.
Say it right now.
Have some respect. She's an older woman. You call it her bust, her dick. What do they call it? A décolletage. What do they call it?
Décolletage.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I started watching a show that was made in the 70s. It's all on YouTube now, so you can go and see it. Derek Jacobi's the actor. It's called I, Claudius. Okay, this is a famous show. It was one of the most successful shows on TV in Britain in the 70s. I mean, long before TV even came to South Africa. But this was an incredible show. So the basic idea is that Emperor Claudius, who was always like the bumbling, limp, lame nephew. He was like he was the runt of the Julio-Claudian litter, right? And Claudius writes this history of the reigns of his grandfather Augustus and his nephew Caligula and his uncle Tiberius. And he basically tells the story from his point of view. And he, of course, becomes the fourth of those emperors. And it's just beautifully written. It's a very clever show. The acting is spectacular, as you can imagine. They've got like the best of the best doing those roles. They had what was his name? Brian Blessed is Augustus, and Livia, his wife, is this scheming, evil, like Roman matriarch who poisons everyone that she doesn't like and never gets caught. I mean, it's the most incredible show. And I thoroughly enjoyed this, despite the fact that it's now almost 50 more years old.
Jeez.
It's really good. And there are 12 episodes. I found myself watching this on my phone, episode after episode. It was really, really good. So I can recommend something that's truly ancient, not only in terms of like the 70s on TV, but like ancient Rome.
But you like this stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, you love this history stuff. And the internet has made it more accessible to everyone. So like go out and learn something, guys. Go out and learn something. But yeah, you said what? It was 12 episodes? Leigh-Ann, how many episodes of Mr. Bean do you think there were? because I have a weird recollection about this. Everyone remembers Mr. Bean. How many episodes do you think they were? They were about 15 minutes long. I remember that.
Yeah, I never got to watch them. I don't think I ever watched them on TV. I always saw them in like clips on social media or like on a plane. Like small. I don't know.
I never liked Mr. Bean. I always thought Mr. Bean was really stupid, and I didn't understand it because I thought Rowan Atkinson was so good.
He was so smart, right?
In Blackadder, I I loved him.
Oh God, he's great in Blackadder.
When I watched that Mr. Bean, I don't know, like 5 minutes of it, I just wanted to switch it off. I didn't get into it ever.
But the question is, how many episodes?
Yeah.
There are probably only about 10.
There's like 10, right?
Right.
And
it's enough, trust me. 10 was enough. We don't need more than that.
Definitely a different target audience.
It's like 3 hours long to watch the entire collection of Mr. Bean, but everyone remembers it so wrong. Everyone remembers like watching Mr. Bean every day for the rest of their lives, like during their childhood.
Yeah, it's so true. That's amazing.
Before Top Link.
But I think also with Mr. Bean, didn't they used to take like short clips and put them in all over the place. So you always thought you were missing out. There was more. Well, I didn't. I was like relieved that was all there was. So I was very pleased when I found out there were only 10 episodes of Mr. Bean. I was like, that's good. That's enough.
No, I beg to differ.
He never spoke.
Brain. Name, please. Brain.
He was very odd. I mean, I never understood that character. I never thought it was entertaining.
And then if you remember, okay, I didn't work. I watched like after the fact, like what Blackadder, and he's really great there.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah. And also he plays the straight man.
First of all, he says more than like 3 lines, which is a hell of an achievement considering Mr. Bean just grunts and like
But it's a hit. Come on, have you looked at the ratings?
The only other character in Mr. Bean, as I can recall, is like his Teddy.
Yeah.
Oh, Teddy.
So and then the Mini. You have to remember the Mini Cooper.
But in Blackadder, it's truly brilliant. I mean, all 5 of them are just unbelievable. Bakh'abantu is not facing the camera. According to Marge, this is a problem. What do you mean? Must he look into the camera the whole time? Is that what you want? Is that what you're after, Marge?
Mind-eye connection, Marge.
I didn't know Marge Simpson was listening to us. That's really cool. Oh.
Like from her couch there with the...
She sounds like Mr. Bean, actually. She was probably Mr. Bean's wife. You know, I still can't believe The Simpsons is still going, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's still going. They're still making The Simpsons.
Yeah, but like Disney owns it now. So, but Disney owns everything.
Yeah, they do own everything.
Yeah.
So, and South Park's still going?
Yep.
They're still making that as well?
Yep.
Those shows have been on pretty much my whole life.
You know, one of the best episodes of South Park, right? Like one of the best episodes of South Park is, so you can do many characters on TV. So one of the big no-nos is Jesus for the Christians. You can do God, but you can't do Jesus.
Yeah.
And you definitely can't do Muhammad from Islam.
Yeah.
So South Park sent out an episode where they did a portrayal of Muhammad.
Uh-huh.
The episode was banned on TV, but they ended up fighting it, and then they got it shot on Adult Swim, right? But the entire episode is bleep, bleep, word, bleep, bleep, and there's a huge box covering Muhammad. So the entire episode has like 3 words and a huge block, and you're following this huge block, and they can't say Muhammad, they can't show the block, but they still got away with it because it's one of the most rated episodes ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, those guys are just brilliant.
Yeah, listen, there's so many clever things that are going on. This is why it was nice to discover something that was as old as Claudius and still enjoy it. And I mean, it really was superb. I always feel like I've discovered something and I'm the only one who knows, even though there are like millions and millions of people who watch these things. You can actually see on YouTube how many millions of people have watched them. So it was a very cool thing to do.
But you do kind of feel unique in what you watch these days, because not everyone has DSTV, not everyone has Netflix, not everyone has Prime.
Do you remember how we used to talk about what shows we'd watched that week, because everyone was watching the same stuff because we didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah, remember when we had the TV guide?
Yeah, correct.
And you had to like schedule.
I mean, the whole family was watching the same thing at the same time.
So you would all talk about it. Now, people don't do that. I mean, there are still, obviously, there are those shows that just break through the noise, you know. They're those hugely, hugely successful, massively well kind of watched shows. But they're few and far between. It's not like it used to be. Like everybody would watch whatever episode of Dallas, you know, back in the day.
We still remember who killed JR.
Right. So, I mean, it was like an event. It was like something everybody took part in. That's very different now.
I think that's why people love sports so much is because it's a shared experience.
Probably.
And, you know, this weekend, just sitting on my patio, and I could hear different groups of people cheering at the same time, obviously watching the rugby.
Yeah.
But now you have to almost rely digitally on other people for that Ubuntu that you're looking for.
Camaraderie. Oh, Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I went camaraderie. You went Ubuntu. Oh,
wow.
I'm really embarrassed.
How things have changed.
Very nice.
Like I have to rely on people I follow on TikTok who have channels dedicated to what to watch on Netflix or whatever. Or I have to go to Rotten Tomatoes. It's all online now. At Rotten Tomatoes, if something's rated badly, I just won't watch it. That's how heavily I rely on it.
But Rotten Tomatoes is like, it's owned by Amazon. And then they delete like comments and stuff, right? They had the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, they had the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, this huge series that cost.
They fiddle it now.
Yeah, they fiddle with it. So Bezos, like had Rings of Power. It cost like $2 million an episode. Like,
yeah, it was huge.
Big. The budget is huge, bigger than Game of Thrones, right? And it bombed. But what they did is they went on IMDb, they went on Rotten Tomatoes, and then they deleted all the bad ones.
Oh, really?
And then now it gets a great rating.
Yeah, so you rig the system in your favor.
Exactly.
And Amazon owns that, huh? Bunch of crooks.
I'll need to find another source.
Rotten
No.
Tomatoes.
Stick to the TikTok people. They'll tell you the truth.
How does it work though? Is a 1 very poor and 5 is very good?
Yeah. 1.
100% is brilliant. 100%.
Oh, but like Rotten Tomatoes has the tomato system, like it's fresh.
Yeah,
fresh out of the box, and then it goes to rotten. Like, but what it does, I like it because it also has critics and audience scores, so it breaks it down very well. So you'd see the critics when the critics support. You'd see that the critics would be like, "Oh, this is really great. We watched it at Cannes. It's really great." And then the audience is like, "Nah, this is dog shit."
Yeah, I've never really trusted critics. I always thought critics were these. Because who is it? Everyone's a critic now, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got Marge in the comment section.
She's a camera expert.
Marge is Marge is going to tell me what she thinks of X restaurant, and her voice counts as much as someone who writes for the newspapers in the old days.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think that there isn't much of a distinction these days between a critic and an ordinary audience member. They're probably as powerful as each other. I mean, is there anyone whose opinion you take so seriously that you would weigh it up against like 10?
Yes.
Who?
Barry Wronga back in the day.
Well, Barry's he's dead, Leigh-Ann, and you can't expect him.
Back in the day.
You think he reviewed Rings of Power? He's gone.
No. Someone I take very serious is Martin Scorsese.
Okay, so
So he reviewed, like he said, the Marvel movies.
He hates them.
Yeah,
he hates the Marvel movies.
Yeah, he said they're not movies. No one is a star from them. Like no one remembers who played Thor, but everyone knows Thor. So it's just IP.
Right.
And it was. I'm a Marvel fan, and I was like, oh no, this guy is right.
Can't believe you didn't trust Barry Wronga. No, everyone trusted him back in the day. I give it a scintillating 6, and then you'd know it was going to be just a little bit better than average. But if he said it was what would he have said for 9? Something with an N. Come on, Leigh-Ann, help us here with some alliteration. I can't think of a good word.
I can only think of the word nice.
I can only think of the N word.
The N word.
Oh no!
Imagine if he said that. Just gonna give it a 9. And then he would have been cancelled. Can you imagine that?
Horrific added on to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. I just don't. Critics are what? That's like everybody. It's like everybody now.
It's just so embarrassing that's how much we relied on that. We relied on so little back in the day. I mean, Barry Wronga, I first started seeing his stuff in, remember, the Sunday Times magazine.
Yes, and spit and polish.
if he hadn't rated something well, you just didn't watch it. You know, and people are still stupid like that.
You did. I was never interested in the critics, but Leigh-Ann obviously she went pouring through the Sunday Times to check what was appropriate to be seen.
And people still do it. You look at religions. No. Most religions are based on one book. How are we still living like that when we have all this knowledge available to us? It's
Are you
just
looking for a
crazy.
fight? Are you looking for a fight this morning? What's going on there? Huh?
Let me not.
All right.
Let me not.
Yeah, please. All right, so let's get into the studio here in a second, Leigh-Ann. We'll come back to you right now. But Charley Pietersen is here now. Charley is well known to anybody who's been listening to Cliff Central for a while. He's got a hell of a story. He's going to tell us that story in just a short while. And we're going to find out all about a new book that he's brought out. And Charley's been campaigning hard in the background to try and get men to be men and try and set good examples for young men who don't have dads and don't have powerful male role models. So, Charley, it's nice to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's so nice to be here. What a nice studio, huh?
You like it, huh?
Beautiful.
Yeah, you haven't been
man.
here before.
No, it's my first time. It's like I'm in heaven. I see the
clouds,
the clouds and everything.
This is how it works.
I'm at home.
No, we're in heaven.
Yes.
That's the feel we were going for, right? That's what we were looking for.
It's working.
Seventh heaven.
All right, so you brought out this book. It's called South African Men Arise.
Yes.
Let me just show everybody what that looks like. Here it is, there. And you say here, it is possible, the power of lifting one another up. Now, you've been hard at work for a long, long time in the background, trying to help young men especially to kind of figure out their way in the world, because there are so many. We know the biggest problem in this country, and nobody talks about it except maybe on this show. And you spend your life out there trying to get the message out. The biggest problem we have in South Africa is that there are not fathers. The fatherlessness, which is an epidemic in this country. Male role models in general, young men who are growing up. And listen, again, we have to say this because people get the message wrong. You could probably say it better than I can. But the fact is, single moms, try as they may, and there's so many hardworking single mothers out there who are doing the very best they can. Maybe the dads are just deadbeats who disappeared. Maybe they're trying very hard, but they need to bring in money. There's a whole bunch of other things that are going on there. But a single mom, she's got both hands tied behind her back, especially with her male children, because men need to role model. We need to be able to see what a man does by watching other men and learning what it is to be a good man. The way they treat women, the way they treat everyone else in the community, what leadership is, what strength of character is, all of that stuff. So how are we doing in this country? Because you're on the ground working this very, very tough task all on your own.
Gareth, thank you so much. Coming back to SA Men Arise, I've written Growing Up Without a Father, Boy Child You Better. And I got to a stage and said, let me look. I know a lot is happening in our country, especially men under tremendous challenges now. And I looked at, let me bring the best out of the few men that is around there, the Gareth Cliffs, because you nugget number 19 and a few good men.
You got a really great bunch of people here.
Yes, and
to share
totally
their
diverse, Gareth, because I said, each and every man got a story to tell. And each and every man went through a certain pain. I looked at, if you look at Katlego Mabue, if you look at his story, it was a story that was supposed to bring him down totally, down and out.
Yeah, that woman tried to ruin him.
Yes, and this young man decided, no, I'm not going to follow that route. Look, he lost a lot. If you read his story about his story in the book, you'll find out that he went through a lot. And I said, South African men, let me come up with something that will put in the whole diverse of men. If you look here, the whole Rainbow Nation is represented in this book, Gareth. The whole Rainbow Nation is in this book. And let them tell a story. Give me a quote, your favorite quote, Gareth. And the challenge that you went through as men, and how can we lift one another up?
So how do you think South Africa is doing? How do you think young men in this country are managing? Because we don't have that many good examples of what it is to be a man. We have a lot of young men who are unfortunately getting their cues from gangsters or from crooks or from politicians, God forbid. A lot of people look up to sportsmen, but of course they might not be that great off the field. You might be a terrific sportsman, so you role model yourself on a great footballer, for example, but you find out that footballer hits his wife when he gets home.
There's a thing.
And suddenly you have no respect for the guy. You should have no respect for the guy when he behaves like that. So how are we doing?
We're not doing good. We're not doing good at all. And also, like I said, all the odds are against the few good men that are there. You know, you'll see it's Women's Month now. We're starting tomorrow is Women's Month. And I promise you, you'll hear all the horrible stories that are coming out.
Yeah.
And it's like, Gareth, these guys are waiting for Women's Month to come out of their stories and their negative things. So you'll find a lot of stories coming out in Women's Month. And South Africa, we lack role models. We lack role models from a political side, from business, from everything. We don't find men that are really coming out and say, guys, let's tackle this issue.
Yeah.
How can we lift one another up? And sometimes I feel like a voice, you know, like I've been thrown in there and said, am I the only person talking about this? Am I the only person, you know, experiencing this, seeing this? But we're not doing good at all, Gareth. And I don't know.
But do you have any idea of the numbers? Like how many men, how many fatherless homes are there in South Africa? Do we know the stats, or do people have they stopped reporting?
OMO came out of some states and Stats SA came out of some states. I think at this time, 70% of our country is fatherless. And every year, Gareth, when children are born, over 60% of them, the father's signature is not on the birth certificate. And where are we going? And look at our country now with the grants and everything that women are getting for the children. We're going to collapse. The system is going to collapse. It's a time bomb that we are busy developing, because every year matrics are passing, and certain are not passing. Where are we going? And this thing is not stopping yet.
I think it's probably instructive if you just share your story again. You know, just the brief version, because I know that you've told this before on Cliff Central. We've got a nice interview with you that we did before, but just to refresh people's memory, tell us how you came to be involved in this and your own background, your story.
Look, I grew up without a father, so I was sitting with my mother, and you growing up without a father, children are going through horrible times, terrible things. It starts at high school, it starts at primary school, it starts at creche, because here you arrive with your mother all the time, and the kids are very nasty. Where's your father? So I started as a little boy, started to lie, Gareth. I said, no, man, my father is in the army, he's overseas, he's a plumber, he's this. And the other kids will listen and said, but you said yesterday he's a plumber. Now you said now he's a pilot. How does this two get together? So as kids, we started to lie at that age as a survival mode. So I said, when I became 21, I said to my mother, you know what? I need to find my identity. Who is my father actually? Tell me about him. What happened to him? So we started a conversation. And in our communities, people are scared to tell us about who we are, where we come from. And we are battling here with identity problems.
Sure.
So at the age of 21, I realized, okay, my father stays 137 60 kilometers from my hometown. It's not that far. I said to my friend, man, I need to go and look up for this man. I just need to ask him what happened to him. What happened to him? Why did he leave me and my mother alone?
Yeah.
So when we arrived there at his place, Gareth, the gentleman didn't even, because a friend of mine went with me, and he didn't even recognize me as his child. So we knocked at the door. He asked us, hey, guys, what can I do for you? And I said to myself, to Godfrey, my friend, please don't tell this guy who we are. So he started to talk and everything. I said, later, but you can see the guy is rattled. I said, no, one of us here is your son. Can you remember my mother? I mentioned, can you remember this lady? I didn't mention my mother's name. Yeah, Didi. Then from inside, the lady screamed, yeah, he used to have a child with Didi. Okay, and I'm 21. I'm standing here. I said, "This is now my life." Yeah, and later I said, "No, man, to Godfrey, let's relieve this guy. Let's come out of the truth." I'm saying, Charlie, that's me, and you know, my mother gave me his name. I said, one question: how many of us have you fathered out there? Before we can start with this conversation,
sure.
He said, "There's a few of you, Charlie." So I said, all right, so it means there's a few of my brothers and sisters running around there without even knowing.
Yeah.
So this is how it started, Gareth. And I've decided and said, no, I'm not going to be like him.
Yeah.
I need to change this thing.
Yeah.
And later when, time gave, I went through a lot of things, as a fatherless kid. I can't explain it. That's why they must read the book, Growing Up Without a Father. So I got to a stage where I said, no, man, I need to be the light to tell fatherless kids that there is life after this. And you can't grow up moving on blaming the seed planter, the sperm donor.
Yeah.
Because you're going to stay behind.
Yeah.
I've decided I'm going to make a difference.
Yeah, stop being the victim.
Stop being the victim, and stop and start changing the minds of youngsters and said, you know what? Look at the greatness inside of you. Find your purpose. Who are you? Why are you here? And what difference can you make? This is how it started, Gareth. And I started a foundation. We went through a lot of challenges. Corporates don't want to fund men issues. Corporates, no. But if you come and said, it's about the girls, it's about all the corporates are.
Yeah, I mean, they had the whole country taking girl children to work for like a couple of years.
No, Mr. Pietersen, I just wanted to jump in here. Like with, there's a culture of also like men don't talk.
It's true.
Yeah, so I like what you writing this book is that starting that conversation, men talking. And as like written at the back of this book, there's a variety of men. There's religious leaders here.
Yeah.
There's pastors, there's evangelists, there's like Vivian Reddy, like there's a whole cast of people. This is
Mixed Masala.
Yeah, Mixed Masala. This is
Gareth Cliff is in there. Gareth will tell you,
Mixed Masala.
It's a mixed masala. You can listen. So it means that if you're down and out as a man down there and you pick up this book, if you can't be one of this,
you can't relate to these names,
then die slowly there.
Yeah.
Just stay there and die slowly. Because great men came up and they came up from nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know there are probably a lot of questions from Leigh-Ann and Bakh'abantu as well. And I'm going to give them a chance because you and I have known each other now for a while. But what you say, you this is kind of like for any man to pick up and find some light at the end of the tunnel, because there's also a lot of hopelessness, right?
And even boys.
And
even boys, yes.
So how did you choose the contributors? How did you choose this mixed masala?
Oh, this mixed masala. Most of them I've interacted with them. I know their hearts.
Right.
I know Gareth Cliff's heart. I know.
I haven't met what little of it remains.
What heart? Cold ice block where his heart used to be.
That's what people thought. I look deeper than that. We've worked on a few projects with Gareth. Then you'll understand the person inside of him. I look at all the characters. I went and researched them, Gareth. Okay, this is what this one is doing. This is what this one doing. So an ordinary man, here's names that no one knows about, but somebody just shared his story, his heartbreak and his challenges. I said, I'm going to send this book out. I'm going to send this message out to 100 of them on my database. So the first 61 that will come will make out this. And they came out.
61 names.
61 names. And I said, I want to make it as diverse as possible for people to see that we talk about the Rainbow Nation. We have forgotten about it. We've forgotten that if you can hold hands, black, white, colored, Indian, and everything, don't group us. Let's come together. But also, Bakh'abantu, if a Vivian Reddy is not saying something, the Indian people will not follow. This is how our mindset is in South Africa. If a colored guy cannot say to the colored guys, gangsters, stop gangsterism, they won't stop it. So each and everyone will relate with the characters and the people in this book and their struggles.
Yeah, no. Leigh-Ann, as a man in this conversation,
as the manliest of men in the room.
Yes, there we go.
I was intrigued by this story over the weekend. It's happening in the UK, so it's a little further from our shores. But there's a big barge of 500 men, 500 asylum seekers, called the Bibby Stockholm, which is coming from, I'm not sure, I think it's a number of different countries, but they're going to be dropped off on this island in the UK, just off Dorset, which is this very kind of small knit community where everybody knows everyone, and this huge barge of floors and floors and floors of accommodation of 500 men from that are complete strangers to this village are arriving. And I was watching a little documentary on what women felt about this, especially moms and grands and aunts and, people who have children in their families. And what was so interesting is that these residents didn't care at all that these men were mostly from Muslim countries or were a certain race or, anything like that. They cared because they were men. They're concerned about these men being there. If it was female asylum seekers with children, they would have felt completely different about welcoming them into their community. Look, there are a lot of other issues tied to it which don't concern our conversation here. For instance, all of these men will be given mobile phones and healthcare access. Meantime, the actual villagers are battling to find their own doctor's appointments. They're a month behind in doctor's appointments. But the whole thing with this was that they're scared because they are men. And that just makes me so proud of what you are doing, and it makes me realize how important it is what you are doing. Men don't want to hear from women telling them how to behave. They want to hear from other men. And that's my opinion, but that's what I think is really important, and I'm sure you would agree with that.
Thank you, Leigh-Ann. And I think with South Africa, you'll see now, look at Women's Month. Every conversation, every speech is going to bring men down. You're going to hear they are trash, they are this and this. And I've also realized that men are like stubborn things. If you tell us, men are like babies. If you tell a baby that you're going to burn your finger, they want to see. So why don't we change the conversation and start a positive conversation in this country and inspire men like this, inspired other men. Let's go out in our thousands, to the townships, to the stations, and tell men, tell me 3 good things about you. Let's start and find out from that. And also, how can we as men change the ones that are doing all these bad things? Because the ones that are doing all those bad things is like, Baka, you put a white page there and you put a black dot. People will only look at the black dot. They won't look at the whole white side of the thing.
When do you think it started to occur? And I mean, this is probably a story from as old as time. Human history is full of these kinds of stories. But men ought to be the protectors. If there are a whole bunch of men who come into a neighborhood and they're good men, then those women have nothing to fear. In fact, their life should be improved and more secure, and there should be more opportunities, and they should know that they can walk down the street at night because there are good men who will protect them. But unfortunately, that is obviously not the case, because now a village of women and young girls, for example, has a lot to fear from a bunch of strange men coming into their territory, because those men are not good men. They're the opposite of protectors. They make the place less secure. They make the place more dangerous for women. What's going on there?
What's going on there? I think, Gareth, I'll go back and say, if we can get the few good men to stand up and identify these guys, let's remove them from our WhatsApp groups if we have to. But before you remove somebody, just share with somebody greatness before you remove him. Because sometimes you can just remove and I become stubborn.
It's turning a blind eye.
It's turning a blind eye. And also, Gareth, it works like, I've been hurt as a man some years ago. This is all that I know, that I need to hurt. Hurt people.
Right.
So we need to tell the hurt one, let's chat. Let's talk about it. Cry if you have to cry.
This is why I like this book. It's a conversation starter.
Yes.
With if you can't relate with any man who's walked at different parts here, and this culture of men don't talk needs to change, and good men need to start talking.
Yes.
So even the conversation where I wanted to ask you about funding, but you mentioned it, that funding stuff like this is probably hard because men don't have problems, like according to society.
Yes.
But men are the problems in society.
And
that's the narrative.
We are the problem.
We are the problem. We are the gangsters.
Yes.
We are the hijackers.
Yes.
So we need the good
rapists.
ones. Yeah, exactly. So what? Evil thrives when good men do nothing. So good men stand up.
Yes. As a man, arise.
All right, so that is the subtitle of the book is South African Men Arise, and I suppose there's a lot of inspiration to be found if you just look in the right places. But there's also, and quite rightly, I think a lot of people go, well, actually, men have also got themselves into this situation. It's not like it's not like they've been victimized by women or that men have had the odds against them for the longest time. Listen, it's just as difficult to be a good man today as it might have been at any other time in history. In fact, you could even argue that it's probably easier now than it ever has been. But there's something missing here. There's a missing ingredient. There's something about how men have kind of, I think we've almost been persuaded to think of ourselves as victims, like so many people have. There's this huge amount of power that goes with victimhood these days, which is completely against the grain, right? It should be the opposite way around. How do you get, when you meet these young guys or even older men who've been hurt, how do you get them out of that mindset? What do you tell them?
I think what's the point that I always start with is that I start with that 3 points about trying, Gareth, to find what is good in this person. I don't even, I go to prisons and everything. I know that this guy killed, one guy confessed, they thought that he killed 3 people. And he said to me, in your ears, I've actually killed 21 people.
Yes.
I said, gee, how do you sleep at night? He said, no, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
But you see, we hide behind things, Gareth, as men, and braveness. We don't want to come out. Now, here am I now listening to this guy. They said I've killed 3, but actually I killed 21.
Jeez.
So I started to say, but where did it all started? But what is good in you? He said, I used to do this and this and this. I said, but why can't you go back and do that? And why don't you get a role model that can help you with that?
Yeah. What did he say?
He said, I want to, but they will think that I'm a sissy. I said, no, you don't sleep at night, man. You're not a sissy. You need help. So certain men wants to hear that. How can I help you? Who can I connect you with that can help you? Because we hide behind our masculinity and everything, but deep inside, we're so scared, Gareth. Yet also, my conversation always start to look at the greatness in people. That's it.
Okay, so you mentioned also that now Women's Month is coming up. It starts tomorrow, and there's going to be a whole lot of people out there saying things like men are trash. And obviously, that doesn't help.
Not at all.
And we will hear horrible stories, as you also pointed out. What kind of stuff should we be focused on then? Like, what would you prefer to hear for Women's Month? What would you like to see? Because the politicians come out and they give us lip service. They stand there and go, oh, yeah, it's terrible, the rape capital of the world. And it's obviously disgusting and embarrassing. But how are we going to get a different message out there?
Mr. Politician, what have you done to make a difference in the life of those men that you are saying that they are horrible?
Besides
saying it. And so, by the way, Mr. Politician, actually, you're one of them. When you go home, you are not a monster. What are you doing about yourself? So I've reached that stage where I'm open with them and tell them, I think we need to get into a positive month and said, let's get all the men in South Africa. If I was the president of the country, I will call a man in Daba and said, I'm calling all the men.
A real men's conference. And we always have that on the 19th of November.
I'll call all men and said, you know what? Let's go into the townships and clean the streets and talk to men. Let's have that open conversation with men. We know that unemployment is high.
That also doesn't help. Because
it doesn't help.
If you don't feel like you're useful in society, then
you don't know what to do with that.
You don't know what to do, So let's do something. Let's go clean schools. And later the people will see, no. Now we're going to watch over this school. We're going to watch over this area. Because it's actually wrong. We went there as 20, 50 men and we cleaned that school and everything. So we're going to make sure that people are not going in and breaking in. Let's start positive conversations. It's like apartheid, Gareth. We always refer back to apartheid. So we never move out from Egypt. We have to move on. It happened.
It happened.
But where are we going now? What are we correcting?
What's more important
now? than referring back.
Are we crying about things or are we making strides forward?
That's it.
So like it just reminded me that we're at July. So when you talked about young men, Gareth, so the tail end of July, I'm a Xhosa guy.
Yeah.
So now as Xhosa, I went to the mountain to be a man.
And the boys are dying now.
So July was the end of the season properly. Like so I think Limpopo and Eastern Cape still do it proper. So like I think about 60,000 people came back from the mountain, but a lot of people died. But in the Eastern Cape, we have it kind of under control. But they teach you there how to be a man.
Values.
They teach you values. But again, it's how people take it.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget, like, so I was given a knife. And I was told that this knife is not for stabbing people. It's a tool for slaughtering and providing for your family. Slaughtering the sheep and providing meat for your family. That's what a man does. But another man will see that knife and stab another man. So these tools are there, but there's something we're missing, Gareth. There's that talk where we as men, like you said, we need an indaba, where we have these tools and we need to teach people how to use them.
100%. Positiveness create great things. We've seen it.
All right, so this is where I want you to be able to tell a little bit about what you do on a daily basis with your foundation, with the book, with everything else that you're doing. You are helping young men to turn their lives around, and you've seen it happen.
Success stories.
It doesn't take a lot, actually.
I brought a young man here, Marco. His dream and vision was to meet Gareth Cliff. No, really. No. But you see, I said, no, man, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's going to change his life forever. He was in the studio. He's going to take a picture of Gareth Cliff. He's going to tell other people. This is what our foundation is doing. We create that. We find out, what are your dreams? What are your ambitions? I said, this was my dreams. And this is still my dreams. Gareth, my biggest dream now, Gareth, I'm saying it on your show. This is one of the biggest shows in Africa, is to meet Tyler Perry. Why Tyler Perry? I want to establish an academy for fatherless kids and orphans, like Oprah did with her school.
With Oleg, yeah.
Oh, yes. So out of this, we want to change the mindset of boys. So bring them there. If he's a drug addict, bring him. We're going to teach him a skill. If he's this, bring him. We're going to do it in 3 months. And we're going to ask companies, please give you experience. So this is the dream. This is, we create that dream, the dream that you'll sit there and smoke nyaupe. You don't have a dream, but if somebody can tell you, hey, leave this thing. Let me show you that you can get where you want. This is what we do. We go to schools, we go to organizations, we go to communities. But lack of capacity and lack of resources, I can only do a few schools and a few things. And there are companies, there are organizations, not a lot, that really said, we want to help you with this. Look, we've put this book together. And Old Mutual helped me and said, Charlie, we believe in your dream. I said, it's not my dream. It's a South African dream. Later, it will become an African dream. Because if this grows bigger and bigger, then the nation will change. Because we have to work on our nation. We can't expect South Africa to change. And South Africa just to change if we don't do something positive.
If people want to buy the book, where do they find it?
On my website, Charley Pietersen on Facebook, Charley Pietersen on Instagram, and our website of the Growing Up Without a Father Foundation, because all proceeds are going to the foundation, Gareth.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to ask this famous guys, the 61 guys, I'm not going to pay you a cent to give me your story.
Oh, no. I thought I was going to get paid.
Gareth was looking at those royalty check. Gareth was like, just saw his royalty check disappear.
Thought we were selling books here.
No, Gareth, but you're going to do the seed that you planted. It's going to grow bigger and bigger, and it's going to change the nation. Because all proceeds are going to the foundation to help us to do and to reach places that we can't reach.
Listen, there's nothing more important than making sure that whatever you want your civilization to be, your society to be, that there are people who you can rely on to look after the kids, to look after the women, to do the right thing, to make a meaningful contribution, to be productive, learn skills, do something powerful and positive.
Yes.
So I think this is amazing. I really do.
No, thank you so much. And I said, I was telling my kids, I said, I want one day when I'm not there anymore, when I'm dead, then you guys will benefit of the seed that I planted. Because we've planted it for South Africa. We planted it for the world. It's not about Charlie. It's not about me. I can sit in any corporate world to be CEO of anything, but everyone wants to be there. But who's going to do this most all important work down here? If most of us only want to go there for the money, we need to do this thing so that we can create a better society and a better South Africa. And we need a better South Africa. And a better South Africa is not telling the people what you're going to do as a politician or what you do. Action.
No, like just to share a personal story here, Gareth, and with you, Mr. Pietersen. I grew up without a father, but I did have a father figure in my granddad.
Yes.
So my dad died when I was 9, 2005 from cancer. So, but my mom used to drill into me that she's not raising me to be her son. She's not raising me to be. She's raising me to be a South African citizen.
Yeah.
To help out people out there, to go out and help the old granny cross the road. You are not, she used to drill that in.
Yeah, you're my child, but.
Yeah, exactly. And then my granddad also did something very important when I was born. He planted a tree. And he that tree is like, that tree that will be a shade for you one day.
Wow.
You'll sit down to you. That tree represents that tree is still growing. It's still like the same age
as me. And it reminds you.
And it reminds me. So between my mom and my granddad, they used to have this saying, what is a legacy if not planting trees to a garden you will never see?
Yeah. You know, Madiba once said, you need to leave a legacy even when you're not there anymore.
Yeah, that's a legacy.
If somebody go to your gravesite, that person must at least spend a minute and said, oh, Madiba, he did 1, 2, and 3. Now, you know, when you go to gravesites, they say, oh, okay, AKA was here, this one is lying here, and everything is here. You just pass. But if you can spend a minute, even when that person is gone, then you have left a legacy.
Yeah.
Well, you are making a legacy, and you're also helping other people to figure out what their legacy should be. And I think it's terrific work, Charlie. So
thank you, Gareth.
All I can say is congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much.
It is called SA Men Arise. You can find it all on Charlie's social media, on his website, and some interesting contributions from lots and lots of really cool people who all have some very useful and wise information to share. So go and take a look. It's called SA Men Arise. And of course, the Growing Up Without a Father Foundation, which is Charlie's project. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Gareth.
All right, awesome to see you, my friend.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
We'll meet that friend of yours just now.
Okay.
What's his name?
Marco.
Mark.
Yeah,
Marco. We'll meet him. I don't know. Maybe we won't do the photo.
Please, man. I need that photo.
No, of course we will. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, and Marco's so nervous. Huh?
Oh, no. He's welcome. All right, very good. There's Charley Pietersen, everybody. Very good. SA Men Arise. Lots of things to talk about there. Bronwyn says, a man's purpose is to protect and provide. If they cannot fulfill either of those, they start feeling less than, and so the destruction begins. Men aren't being raised by strong women anymore. Well, some of them are, but it takes two.
Yeah.
You know? And you can't expect, there's no woman who's such a superwoman that she can do it all on her own.
Yeah.
No matter how powerful and strong she is.
Or no matter how powerful and strong she thinks she is or believes that she has to be.
Yeah,
and that's just one thing I want to say in closing on this, is that there's such a fine line. And I saw a comment a little bit earlier, I think it was by Rusty.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to have the conversation about toxic feminists. Yes, this can swing the other way completely. And there's one thing I always remember when I'm talking about men in general and men as a group and the way they behave, is that I have a father and a brother who I look up to and who I love and who are great men. And there's that thing as well where if you're suspected before you even guilty of committing a crime or doing something, let me put it this way. For instance, when I was really young, my mom said to me, I think we should take you to the doctor and get you put onto the pill. And at the time, I wasn't sexually active yet. But by her saying that almost gave me the feeling that I could be sexually active.
Yeah,
it almost gave me permission or a license.
Yeah.
And in the same way, we can't just presume that all men are terrible people. In the same way, if we presume that all men are scary or that they may rape or they may cheat or they may become gangsters, you're giving them that license, that permission. We need to always remember the good men in our lives. And that we have fathers, uncles, cousins, brothers who are absolutely amazing and not be toxic feminists, basically.
But I suppose, the big problem is that people love to categorize. So they like to put people in. And we also we like to make it really simple and binary. So we have villains and we have heroes.
Yeah.
It's the human mind. Yeah. We were talking about heroes this morning, that guy who came out to help fight the fire and rescue people. And then there are obviously real villains in the world. But it's not normally as simple as that. Normally, it's actually quite complex. Most people are a little bit of both. Yeah, and most people try their best to, hopefully, if they're good and moral people, tend towards the hero rather than the villain. Yeah. But nobody's perfect. And if we think everyone can be simplified down to hero and villain, we're in for a very, very tough life.
Exactly. It's like
it's not going to make sense a lot.
So even Mandela, guys. Mr. Pietersen did mention Mandela as he won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Sure.
But you need to remember that he also was the same guy who was going to poison parliament and kill every white man under Umkhonto weSizwe. So not everyone is entirely good and not everyone is entirely bad. There are gray areas, but we should always trend towards the good and the light.
Even Cyril's shocked by that, And you saw the look on his face.
Mandela was like an FBI's most wanted once before.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Oh. And there were people, and there still are some people, I don't know where they are, but they must be around, some people who have not very flattering things to say about him. I mean, you hear it was the EFF's birthday over the weekend. They keep trying to revise history, saying he was a sellout.
Yeah.
He didn't
and when he did everything.
When he did everything. I mean, it's not that simple. And if you fall for that stuff, you'll fall for anything. It's unbelievable. Howdy Dave says, yeah, we all have a few shades of gray. Yeah, but we're not talking about 50 shades. We're not going there. But Max Sony says, well said, Leigh-Ann. Yeah, absolutely. When I think about my feelings, I quickly bottle them up and hide them to never see the light of day, says Slippery Pickle.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing for a lot of guys. Yeah. You're told that you shouldn't have feelings.
Yeah, no. Speaking about the EFF, I have like a weird video, but I want to share it tomorrow, where they just shut down Brahm and then they just caused havoc. Meanwhile, Breeze also shut down. So like there's just traffic everywhere, and they're celebrating. There's like three of them.
What are the EFF really good at? Creating havoc. Yeah. They do it in Parliament. They do it on the streets. They this is what they do.
But it's manufactured outrage.
But it's their thing. That's what they do.
But how did the birthday party pan out? Leigh-Ann, did you follow this?
Because they don't have fathers. No one's disciplined them. No one sat them down and taught them how to behave.
Read the book. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They should be reading that book. Damn it. That's what they need to do. All right.
No.
So
I avoided all of that on the socials.
Yeah, I'm not really that interested. Yeah. To be perfectly honest, the politicians must do what politicians do.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm very I don't find it amusing or interesting anymore. EFF, whatever.
Yeah.
Have your 10-year birthday party.
F4.
It's all good. Someone fell to their death at the EFF birthday, says Wentz.
Oh.
Jeez, really? What was that at the stadium? Holy shit.
But like, apparently the stadium was packed.
Really?
Apparently the stadium was packed. Kaiser Chiefs and Pirates only dream to get those many numbers.
Wow. I mean, that's quite something. I didn't know about that. I did see a video of Julius. Obviously, all the outrageous stuff will get there first. And even if you try to avoid it like I did, Steve points out here, I wonder if this is Steve Hofmeyer. Did Juju sing Kill the Boer again? He did, right?
He did.
Yeah.
I thought we outlawed that.
I don't know. So, I mean, this person did fall at the stadium. That's terrible, hey? What a thing to happen.
Yeah. At least there was no, like, I was expecting, like, what?
Imagine that. You live your life and then you lose your life at the EFF's 10th birthday celebration. How depressing.
Oh, no.
Of all the play, I mean,
talk about leaving places, a legacy.
Right? Legacy. Oh, I stole the words right out of my mouth.
Oof, that's bad. According to the police, the man was dancing when he fell. While he was still falling?
No. What happened?
Shame. That's horrendous.
He was happy while,
he died happy. He died doing what he loved.
That's horrible. Oh, my God. All right. Well, that's all we got time for this morning, everybody. I hope you have an excellent day in the company of cliffcentral.com. We have lots of other good shows for you to check out. You must go and see them. They're all on our website. Tell us what you think and let us know what you want to hear more of. You know how to do that. Contact@cliffcentral.com is our email address. We'll also put up all the details of Charlie's book and all the other good stuff.
Cliffcentral.com. Like and subscribe.
That's it. Like and subscribe, for heaven's sake. That's what we do this YouTube thing for. Otherwise, we could always just go back to audio.
No, we're not going back. We're not going back. Not going back.
Go back?
No, we just talked about moving forward, Gareth. South African men rise up.
I hated the cameras on the first day we started this business, and I still hate them, but it's not up to me. Clearly not. People want what people want. They're going to get it. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Be good.